Hey everyone, welcome back to my One Piece series. I'm going to be doing something very different this week, where instead of giving you my first impressions on the latest One Piece story that I've seen, I'm going to be ranking the One Piece stories I've seen so far. Not much more setup needed than that. I think things are pretty self-explanatory, so where I'm at One Piece right now is I'm up to I just finished the Water 7 saga, so Post-Enies lobby arc is the last arc that I'm going to be talking about. As you can see, it's called One Piece Arc Rankings So Far, which means maybe I'll do another video like this down the line if you guys like this kind of stuff, these rankings. I've never done a One Piece ranking before, so... Actually, someone suggested I do a One Piece theme song ranking at some point, so I might do that. Let me know if you want to see that, because that could be fun. But for this video, I'm going to be talking about the East of Blue saga through the Water 7 saga. Each arc, I'm going to rank it. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to be just going in chronological order, giving my ranking, starting with Romance Dawn. Romance Dawn, to me, is a C. Oh, also, I guess I should give you the ranking. So I have OP for One Piece, or Overpowered, A, B, C, D, and F. So, Romance Dawn, I think, is a C. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I think because it's the start of the narrative, just things are a little bland, and Kobe is pretty fucking annoying, so... it's a C. I do like the introduction of Zoro, I think that's cool, but it's not enough to salvage the entire arc. Next up, Orangetown. I think Orangetown is pretty solid. I think it's a pretty solid B arc. We get to see Nami and Zoro and Luffy working together for the first time. There's that... Buggy is a really fun character. His, what is it, the Chop fruit is pretty entertaining. And also we get that little backstory with the dog whose name I don't remember, but that's a little hint of kind of the emotional weight that this story, not that that's the most emotional thing in the world, but you know what I'm saying, like, it's a little hint of that raw emotional drama that I really like about this series. So I think Orangetown is pretty fun. I think it's a solid B. Next up, Syrup Village. I really don't like Syrup Village. I love Usopp as a character, and I love, what's his name? He's got two goddamn names, hold on. Captain Kuro. I like Captain Kuro as a villain. I like his little cat finger claws, but the whole like setting of the fight is very bland, very just, it all takes place on that one hill and it never really changes, so I don't think it's a very dynamic arc. I like Usopp, but this is also the most annoying he ever is in the series, where he's just constantly, I mean, he's always lying, but he's like really, it's just, this whole arc is just the boy who cried wolf, but also Luffy and crew showed up, which I don't think it sucks. Like, I don't think it's a terrible arc. I don't think it's unwatchable. That's why it's a D and not an F. I just think it's definitely the weakest arc of the East Blue saga. Maybe the weakest arc so far, honestly. Baratie. That's an easy A for me. Baratie is the arc I'd tell everyone who is ever gonna watch One Piece. Get to Baratie, and if you don't like that arc, then the show's not for you. I think Baratie did so, it hyped up the Grand Line, it introduced Mihawk, we had the fight with Zoro and Mihawk where he gets the scar down his chest, the Luffy fight with Don Krieg was really cool, he's pulling out the stakes and he punches them through he's got the spiky shield, just punches them right through, the cooks who fight, just the Zeph with his peg leg, and I don't know, the backstory with Sanji and Zeph, it's just so good. I'm almost tempted to make it OP, but I don't think it's quite there. I don't think it's quite up there with the best of them, but I think it's really good. Like, I really love Baratie a lot. Arlong Park, kind of the same thing. Kind of I mean, the way they blend into each other is also excellent, but Arlong Park is... Nami has a really good arc there. The introduction of the Fishmen is such a cool concept, and it automatically twisted things to make the world just a little more fantastical than it already was, which is something I appreciate. The walk with the crew strolling up to Arlong Park, Nami fucking stabbing herself in the arm, Luffy giving her the hat. I have given Arlong Park some shit in past videos, and everyone's come at me for it. I don't think it's as good as I've seen people hype it up to be. I don't think it's in the top tier of arcs, but I do really like it, and it is really impactful for the series, so it's an A. I like it. My one problem with it is I think it kind of falls off a little bit in the back half once they get to the actual fighting. Luffy's stuck for a while, Nami's just standing around. I've said it before and I don't want to get yelled at, so moving on. Logtown. Now, Logtown is tricky because it is a shorter arc, But I still think it's rock solid. Like, I really like it. The introduction of Smoker. Smoker is one of my absolute favorite characters in the whole show. His powers are really cool, but his personality, and he's got like the 2 cigars. It's so dumb, but I love it. And then this arc also, it's right before heading into the Grand Line. So they have that storm show up, and then the crew escapes just in the nick of time, and you have this sense of like fate almost that the series begins to play with here. Like Luffy is meant to be king of the pirates or something. Like, there's something going on that starts to rear its head in this arc that I can't quite put my finger on, but I always have. It's almost like this mystical kind of spiritual destiny kind of thing. I don't know. I like it. It's a B. So that's the East Blue Saga. Now we're moving on to the Alabasta Saga, the entrance into the Grand Line with Reverse Mountain. So I think Reverse Mountain, again, like kind of the same thing with Romance Dawn. Both the starts of those 2 sections, by nature of the narrative, there's just not a lot of meat on the bones. I really love Reverse Mountain. I think the whole sequence of them going up and then coming down is gorgeous. I think it's pure romanticism and I absolutely adore it. But the story is just, then they get swallowed by a whale and then they leave. So there's just not enough for me to rank it higher, even though I do really like it. It's just not enough. Whiskey Peak, solid B. Pretty solid arc. I really like the best part of this whole arc is the Zoro on the rooftop with the moonlight and he's taking on all of Baroque works. I think that's one of the best Zoro moments in the entire series so far. I really like it. The reason it's a B is the whole arc kind of gets a little complicated, convoluted. It's hard to understand what's going on your first watch through because they're just throwing a lot at you. It's paced kind of oddly. The Zoro-Luffy fight is something that still gets under my skin as just stupid. I don't like it. But we do get the introduction of Miss All Sunday, and Vivi kind of teams up with the crew for a while from here on out, so I think it's a solid B. Little Garden is tricky. If there was an A-, I'd put it A- because I think it is slightly better than all the other ones here. I think it's slightly better than Orangetown, Logtown, and Whiskey Peak, but I also think it's slightly worse than Baratie or Arlong Park. So I have to put it in B. Can I move it to the front? All right, I'm gonna move it to the front of the B. It's peak B so far. Actually, let me move some of these around. Okay, I don't know. I panicked, so this is the placement I've chosen for all of them. I like Baratie better than Arlong Park, obviously. What was I saying? Yeah, so Little Garden, I think, is a solid B. I think the first of all, again, kind of like what I said with the introduction of the fishmen, the introduction of the giants and this fabled land at the end of the Grand Line where giants live is just such a cool concept. And the giant's relationship with Usopp in particular really sets him up in an interesting way going forward, because up to this point, he'd just been kind of cowardly, Usopp doing his best, whatever. I mean, he did have that good fight in Arlong Park. I can't fault him for that. But this kind of gives him more of a drive to become a hardened warrior of Elbath, and I really like it. The villain is a little weak in this arc, though. Like, Mr. 3 kind of sucks. Miss Golden Week also kind of sucks. The best part about this arc are the characters. Vivi really feels like she becomes part of the crew in this arc. So it's very solid, but it's just not that next level. Drum Island. Drum Island is tricky because I feel like I want to like it more than I do. I think I wish it was an A, because I love Chopper as a character, and all of the Chopper stuff in this arc is really fantastic. Like, I'm crying like a baby when the cherry blossoms go off at the very end. But like everything else besides Chopper, like the Wapole is the worst villain. He's just so boring and annoying, and I take no pleasure in seeing him on screen, and just for him, they force in that like big fight with him at the end. It just felt kind of, I didn't like it. I like Dalton as a character, but again, he's got kind of nothing really going on. Just all the Chopper stuff is really solid with Kureha and what's his Dr. Daddy name? No, Dr. Herolook. Yes, Dr. Herolook, Dr. Daddy. All that stuff is fantastic. Even like the trek up the mountain, up to the castle where Kureha lives is pretty entertaining, but just everything else is pretty flat and uninteresting. Okay, I mean, Alabasta, right? Alabasta, that's OP. Alabasta is so good. so wonderfully fantastic that it's almost impossible for me to cover everything I like about it right now. So how about I just say everything? Every fight, every character, every villain, all the setting is fantastic, the themes, the drama, the character interactions. I don't think there's a thing about this arc that I don't like. I mean, Crocodile is such a good villain. The multiple fights with Luffy are well paced. The Civil War is incredibly like heartbreaking and sad. It's got this deep melancholy going on throughout the whole arc with Vivi's like cries. Dude, Vivi in this arc is so deeply upsetting. Everything about it, I could gush about this arc, and I have. You can watch that video where I gush about it. But I think it's just overall fantastic. It's a tough one to beat, but I think something does beat it. I think the only two cons about Alabasta are pretty much nitpicks on my part. Pell being alive, which is I think anime only anyway, and then Igurum showing up at the very end kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I think I'm in the minority there. So, and Mr. 2's in this arc? So good. And that's the Alabasta Saga. So now we're moving on to the Sky Island Saga, my least favorite saga so far, starting with the Jaya Arc, which I think actually rips. I think the Jaya Arc, is it better than Baratie and Arlong Park? No, I don't think it is. I really like Jaya, but there are some flaws in it that just don't work for me. I think Bellamy sucks. I think he's really boring and uninteresting and annoying. I think the bar fight is stupid. I know people have talked to me about that, saying, it's just like how Shanks didn't fight those bandits when Luffy was a kid, but it's very different. Like, yeah, they're similar, but it is pretty different. Shanks didn't tell his whole crew to get their ass beat, like Luffy told Zoro to just fucking get beat up. Like, it's very different and stupid. They could have just walked away. Who cares? Why were they there in the first place? Just asking about the Sky Island with a bartender. Leave the bar and ask someone else. But Mont Blanc Cricket, the story of Nolan the Liar, the introduction of not the introduction of, but like the verbalizing of the theme of romanticism in this arc is really solid, and I don't think I've ever been more excited in this show than when they shoot up into the sky at the end. Ooh, that was real good. The only thing that came close was the reverse mountain when they're soaring up to that, but I think when they shoot up into the sky at the end of Jaya, up into the Sky Island that they've been building up since the beginning with the monkey men and the ship that falls from the sky, which is also very solid and part of why I like this arc so much, that sensation has not been replicated in the series, and ultimately I think it was kind of disappointing what ended up happening, but the sensation of that flight into the sky and the endless possibilities were, if you can just distill that feeling, shoot it into my veins. I love it. Now there is Skypiea, which I think is bad. I think Skypiea is not good. It's not a good arc. People have been telling me that, most people don't like Skypiea the first time around, but now if you're caught up on One Piece, which I'm not, so I have no way to judge this, people are saying that, this arc is actually better when you look back on it with more context. So I guess, this is all subject to change, but where I'm at right now, I've seen this arc twice because I wanted to give it a second chance. Did not do it for me. I think Eneru is a really boring villain. Yeah, he's powerful and strong, but like, I don't really care. Just being powerful and tough doesn't make you interesting to me. Like, he's got nothing going on except I'm God, and that's it. And also, I want to destroy the Sky Islands because I am God, and that's. I think all the Shandian stuff was a little messy too. I just think this arc is really messy. It started out really strong on Angel Island. I like some things about this arc, that's why it's not a D. I think the setting of Upper Yard was such a wasted opportunity. You could design anything up in the sky. It could have been anything magical, wonderful, but it's just like a big forest. Nothing about this arc really does it for me. The ending, though, they get the gold and they go back, there is some stuff in this arc that I'm really happy about. The introduction of Dials. I think Chopper has a really good fight in this arc, but overall, I think it's ultimately pretty disappointing for me. And that's Sky Island. So now we're on to the Water 7 Saga, and we only have 4 arcs left, starting with Long Ring, Long Land. And I think this is a solid B. I think I think it's better than Logtown, but I think it's better than Drum Island also, actually. Because there's nothing about Long Ring Long Land that bothers me. It just is, it's not the best arc, but it's a very consistent, funny gag arc with some pretty interesting setup for the future. It's just like a big old goofy comedy arc, and I appreciate that. It's been a long time since they've just kind of goofed around. We're coming from Alabasta, which is a civil war, Jaya, where they have to fight some punks in a bar, and then Sky Island, which is essentially like another full-scale, like, three-way battle. So it was nice to just chill out for an arc. I think the Davy back fight is a really cool concept. I like the Foxy Pirates. They're pretty funny. Foxy is great. The announcer is great. And then at the very end, we get the introduction of Aokiji, which really foreshadows the events of this entire arc, sets up Robin to become this mysterious woman where we're really going to get her backstory fleshed out. So I think it's a B. Next up, Water 7. Water 7 is OP. Water 7 is so good. The setting itself, like, not even talking about the narrative, the setting itself, easily the best setting in the entire series. Beautiful. It's what I was waiting for the whole time I've been watching. It feels like a place you would have heard, like, legends about in pirate mythology. It almost feels like Atlantis meets Venice with some, like, industrial kind of era shine to it. I don't know how to describe it. I just really love it so much. And I think if you're watching this video and you know what Water 7 is, I think you know why it's up there. Just everything from when they touch down to when they end up leaving is great. The characters, the drama, the action, everything works. Even the comedy is perfect. You get the introduction of Frankie and all of Galila. It's just, and then CP9 at the very end. The twists are really great. Everything about this is fantastic. Robin the whole time. Oh, fuck. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to explode on you there. All right, Annie's Lobby. You know what? Let me do this. I think Water 7's... I don't know. It's Water 7 or Annie's Lobby are the best. I think they're just tied because they're so... Well, they're also so tied in together that it's almost impossible to separate them. But I think they both take Alabasta. I think Alabasta is just slightly worse than Water 7 and Annie's Lobby, but I mean the difference is so minuscule it's almost not worth talking about. But Annie's Lobby, I mean, it's just it feels like the emotional climax of the 300 plus episodes or however long it's been. You get the payoff with Robin's backstory. We really get the Straw Hats kind of making a name for themselves on the world stage in the Grand Line with them going against the world government. It's just there's nothing about this arc that is a disappointment. I mean, Usopp and Luffy get their, like, reconciliation in a way. Frankie gets his backstory and kind of his whole arc fleshed out. Second gear, there's the action in this fucking Lucci. I think Spandam's the best villain of the series so far. I think he's so perfectly evil. Everything about him, to his design. I've gushed about this arc a lot in the video I made about it, so I think I'll let that video speak for itself and I'll stop gushing. And then finally, the Post-Enies Lobby arc. I think this is a really strong arc, actually. It's definitely better than Jaya. It's hard to compare it to Arlong Park and Baratie because those feel very self-contained, whereas Post-Enies Lobby, you kind of need Annie's Lobby to have Post-Enies Lobby. So for that reason, I think it's not as good as Baratie and Arlong Park, but it's real close, and I think it's really good. It manages to tie up all the loose ends following Annie's Lobby, which was like this culmination, like I said, but at the same time, it's also this wonderful foreshadowing machine for the future of the series. You have Garp show up with Kobe, who's grown up, and now he knows Shave, so he's like on his way to becoming powerful, and he talks about wanting to be an admiral. Then we get the reveal that Luffy's dad is Monkey D. Dragon, the world's most heinous criminal, and he's the guy who was at Logtown who, like, let Luffy escape with his, I guess he's got, like, storm powers, I don't know, and then you get the reconciliation of Usopp and Luffy for real, with Usopp coming back on the crew, and then Frankie joins the crew, and he says goodbye to his underlings and Iceberg, and they get the Thousand Sunny, and they set up the Florian Triangle in Fishman Island, and then we get to see Shanks and Whitebeard talking about Blackbeard, and then we see Ace fight Blackbeard and lose? I guess I don't think he's dead. I think he's just lost, but it's all crazy. It's so much is going on in this little, it's supposed to be like an epilogue just to a larger arc, but it does so much more than serve as an epilogue. And I'm really impressed with Post-Enies Lobby. I think it could have been more slice of life, goofy, wacky wrap up. It didn't have to do all the foreshadowing it did, but the fact that it chose to pretty much mostly be foreshadowing is perfect, and I really respect the hell out of it. So this is it. These are my rankings for East Blue through Water 7. As you can see, no Fs yet. Nothing has totally failed for me. I think everything is pretty much solid. Like, the worst thing is Syrup Village, and I don't even think it's horrible. Like, it's just not something I ever have had an urge to rewatch, and I have seen it through twice, so I have given it a fair shake. It's just pretty weak. But honestly, 3 OP arcs, 2 back-to-back, a couple of A's, a lot of B's, only a few C's. I love it. I love this series so far, but that's it for this video. Please let me know what you think of my rankings in the comments, and if you're insane and you want to comment out your ranking for 17 arcs, please do, because I'm interested on what the consensus is from the community about where all these arcs rank in the story. And also, I guess, to be fair to myself, I have no idea where things are going to go in the future, so this is just my opinion as of now, as of only seeing through Water 7. So down the line, there could be way crazier arcs that push these arcs from OP to A, or it could all be shit and then everything goes up. Maybe Syrup Village becomes a C if everything else is crap. But yeah, so this was a new kind of video. Let me know if you like these kind of ranking videos. I'm curious, because maybe I'll make more in the future. Maybe I'll make that theme song one, or I was thinking about doing another one, and I can't remember what it was. I think I was thinking about ranking the villains. I might rank the villains if people are interested, but because someone requested the theme song one, that's at the top of my list. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. It really means a lot to me. If you do me a favor and hit the like button, and maybe even, I never asked this, maybe even share the video to someone you think might enjoy it, that'd be great. The algorithm is constantly a challenge, so any help you can offer me would be very much appreciated. Thank you again so much for watching. Take care of yourself, and until the next video, I'll shut up.